Do you think Nick Chubb is the exception to the you can't pay a running back rule?
Who wants to start this? Who want to start this?
I'll start.
Okay, here you go.
Is Nick Chubb the exception to you can't pay a running back? I'm going to say no, he's not, because of the fact that I think that guys that are exceptions are the guys that do more than just run the football. I think those are the pass catchers, the Christian McCaffreys, the Aaron Joneses, there's another guy I'm missing. Kamara. You got to have guys like those. You got to be able to do one thing. Now, the reason that Nick Chubb's contract looks so good right now and it's worth so much is because the Browns, the organization, the Cleveland Browns, do a great job of protecting him. See, the problem with why these running backs are flaming out so fast is because, like, you think of you think of Zeke Elliott, you think of a Derrick Henry, these guys were the offense. Like, they literally was getting the ball 30, 40 times a game, and that was for years, years. And now they get to 4 or 5 years in, their bodies have taken that beating. Well, the Cleveland Browns are doing the smart thing where we complain about Nick Chubb not getting the ball 20 times a game, but they are trying to extend Nick Chubb's career and try to have him be, successful and be a top running back in this league for more than just 2 or 3 years. So I think that's why he can, quote unquote, be the exception because of the organization that he's in. But if he was with Dallas or Tennessee or whoever runs the ball heavily, he'd be flamed out after 4 or 5 years and he'd be just like the rest of them.
Jason?
Have you ever heard of a team saying, here's your market value, but we love you so much, here's an extra $5 million?
No.
That doesn't happen.
It ain't going to happen.
It ain't going to happen. Now, I do. So there's two conversations here. Is Nick Chubb the exception when paying running backs? No. Is there ground to come up to a deal? Maybe. Like he's going to have to take a restructure. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to take less probably next year. And we're having a conversation about 2024. This is 2024. Mm-hmm. If he's willing to take less, if he's willing to do a restructure type thing, maybe. But are they going to just pick up the tab at his current number, which I think is like $16 million next year? No.
Depends on what the offense look like.
It's a Deshaun Watson offense as far as I'm concerned going forward.
But if he actually is, Nick Chubb is actually that fourth quarter, second half guy, and he's really being successful, really helping them win games.
Yes.
He has to.
You have to leave it at that because he's a huge part.
He has to do better than he did this year. Like he has to. If he says he has 1,700.
That's ridiculous.
I know it's a lot of yards.
Especially because Watson's throwing for 7,000.
That's ridiculous.
Say you amortize that 7,000 that Watson gonna get. We put that aside. Put that aside right now.
How many touchdowns did Chubb have last year?
Did he have 12?
12.
So say he gets 16.
You got to keep him at the number there.
If he outperforms, do you think they're gonna make him take a pay cut if he outperforms last year?
No, you can't. There's no way you can ask somebody to do that. That was like when Amari Cooper, when they needed money. I was like, you can't ask Amari Cooper to take no pay cut.
Okay, fine. What are the odds that he's going to rush for more than 1,500 yards and score more than 12 touchdowns with 17 games of Deshaun?
He dedicated this season to Jim Brown. He has no choice.
He got the ghost of Jim Brown on his.
He said that this season is for Jim Brown, so he has no choice. At this point, you have no choice.
What you did not know is that I took the monster card, Jim Brown, and added him into my attack points. I brought him from the graveyard, and now, compared to what you have, I'm going to put 5 people back on the board.
Listen, they got, how many? You need 8 Dragon Balls, and they done brought Jim Brown back, and he's in Nick Chubb's body.
Well, touchdowns are a little different because, like, you could punch one in from the 1 or the 2.
Oh,
that's how the dude for the Lions looked so good last year.
Yeah, but
Jamal Williams.
I'll tell you right now, if Nick Chubb has 1,600, 1,700 rushing yards this year, something went terribly wrong with Deshaun Watson. Right? Let's be realistic here.
Well,
either he got hurt, or he's a disaster, or people got fired. If Nick's running for 1,600 yards,
or the Browns are the greatest show on turf or grass or whatever, 1,600 and you still winning? I don't know what. Like, is he breaking 3 long runs a game?
Well, listen. The thing is.
But you know, with the extra game, I mean, I don't know. It's now 17 games.
The thing is, if he's literally going to be the second half guy, which I don't think he will be a huge part. If they got the league, he will be a huge part of that.
Yes.
But they tried to throw the ball a lot last year, and he still was able to get that done. So I think with it better, with guys healthier, it ain't too hard for him to hit that same number again, even though you know that you're going to be in more formations with 11 personnel. So now you got one less linebacker in the box. It's not crazy or asinine to think that he could get those numbers again. If the box is lighter because of another receiver, if Elijah Moore is out there, there's no way. And he's lined up in the backfield, like there's no way that you're going to put a linebacker on him. And so now you got two running linebackers to beat.
So my thing is, under what scenario do you think Nick Chubb would actually say, no, give me every penny and hit the market? Nothing to me seems like.
He ain't going to say anything. He going to go in there, they're going to say, Nick, we need you to take a pay cut. He ain't going to say that. He just go.
And do you think, given what you know about him, would he say yes or no?
I don't know much about him.
I don't either.
Nobody knows nothing about him.
Nobody knows. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I would know what he would do because I have no idea what he would do.
Nick Chubb's a team player. I think depending on what is the cut, what's the pay cut? If he's slotted to make $16 million, how much of that 16 are you cutting?
I mean, would y'all be comfortable with what 12?
12.
So 4.
Yeah.
He can do 12. I think he can take
12 is still nice.
Depending on what the 4 and what are we getting with the 4.
Well, here's the other part of the conversation is if Jerome Ford emerges this year, and I thought Mike put it really poignantly a couple last week, a week before, what would Jerome Ford get on this offense in a world that Nick Chubb doesn't exist? And I think you said 1,100 yards.
Yeah.
So is 400 to 500 yards worth $10 million? Or whatever the difference is between what Jerome Ford's making and what Nick Chubb would make.
So you saying that you talking about just completely moving off of the guy?
I think there's a chance that happens.
And now you part of the problem. That's why the running backs don't like you. You see that? You're doing exactly what the running backs is talking about.
It's playing the market. It's taking advantage of the market situation. And when you're paying your quarterback what you're paying him, I mean, I've said for a year, you can't continue to pay two guards $30 million. Like, you're paying $30 million to guards. Eventually, that's a luxury that goes away when you're paying your quarterback what you're paying him. Eventually, they're going to have to make hard decisions. Now, if you're choosing between Nick Chubb and Wyatt Teller, you're picking Nick Chubb. Wyatt Teller's going to go, and you're going to go find another right guard.
Right.
If it's your boy at left tackle, I'm telling you,
that's a lot. And they gotta pay. What's his name?
Wills.
Jedrick Wills.
If they gotta pay Wills,
if you have to choose between Chubb and Wills, Chubb is by far the superior player. But where are you gonna find another left tackle?
In the draft.
Where?
You know what? It's this dude.
In the second round? And you're going to plug him in on day one?
It's this dude from Ohio State that came out this past year.
Plug him in.
He about 6'7".
And you know what?
350.
And you know, if he grows up, and I'm serious, if he grows up and matures,
he need to become a pro.
And if he can show that he can handle being an NFL pro, maybe. But we're not at that point now.
He got a long year to go.
I just think.
So it's a lot easier to find a running back than it is to find a left
That's
tackle.
true. That is especially if Jerome Ford shows some flashes and Jerome Ford catches out the backfield.
Here's what I want to know, Anthony. Can we get a quick poll that would say if the Browns moved off of Nick Chubb for Jedrick Wills?
Oh no! Don't say it. Don't say it like that. No, don't say it like that. Because it's gonna be so slanted.
If the Browns were to move on from Nick Chubb after next year for any reason, right? Would they be pissed? I think when Bernie left, people had they lost their mind. But I literally think that the PR storm from that would be crazy.
If the Browns go 12-5, win a playoff game, lose to the Chiefs in the second round.
Oh, I gotta be the Chiefs.
I'm just throwing out
Chiefs, Bengals, whatever.
And then they move on from Nick Chubb. You think people are going to be that outraged?
Yes.
If they go 12-5 and win a playoff game?
Depends on how well he played in the season.
And we have no idea of knowing.
Yeah. But give me some numbers. Give me some questionable numbers where it's on the fence.
1,500 yards. 1,400, 1,500 yards.
How many touchdowns? 10?
10 touchdowns.
They're gonna be mad. They'll be mad. They're gonna be. They listen.
That's big.
That's crazy.
That 1,410 touchdowns.
It's because we ain't seen 1,400 or 1,500 like that consistently. So we like, well, we ain't seen it before him. Yeah. So I can't even imagine just jumping into another running back and he gonna get that.
See, I don't want this to become a thing where it's like, because it could be just a fad, you know, like when trading your number one wide receiver, like that was the thing to do for the past couple of years. We'll just get another one in the draft. We'll get a rookie one in the draft. And you see Tennessee was like the victims of that last year when they got rid of A.J. Brown, and it kind of ran out. I don't think did any number one receiver get traded this offseason? I don't think they did.
No.
So I think that kind of ran out. I don't want this running back thing to be, because Nick Chubb is, the way he's projected, he's a Hall of Famer.
He is.
So it's like
he is.
In his prime.
Exactly. So it's like, are we really about to get rid of a Hall of Fame running back because right now the scenario is that running backs are not valuable? Where I don't believe that that's true, because last year we seen games where Saquon Barkley single-handedly won games. We seen games where Nick Chubb was single-handedly trying to win games.
And what did the Giants do with Barkley? Sign the franchise tag.
No, he got a little extra.
He did eventually.
He got a little extra.
He got $2 million up front.
Listen.
And he got $1 million on the back.
If Tennessee was to trade Derrick Henry, like, Tennessee's through.
So let's.
If the Browns trade the only concrete piece of offense that you know, if Deshaun Watson is either good or bad, one thing we know, as the sun comes up tomorrow, Nick Chubb is going to be great.
Yep.
So you want to get rid of that one piece, like that you guaranteed know what's going to happen?
You don't want to. No, you don't want to.
I don't know about
But you're
that.
not bringing him back at $16 million either.
Can I give you
What's the highest paid? CMC is the highest. What he get, 20 a year?
18, 19.
Is it,
like
Anthony,
that.
is there any way you can look that up real quick and tell me what CMC's annual salary
Christian
is?
McCaffrey?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
While he's looking it up, let's play this little mind game here a little bit. Let's just go ahead and just do fairy tales, right? So say for instance, they Nick Chubb gets his 14, 15, whatever we talking about this year. 2024, he comes around, he's a free agent, they don't re-sign him. 16, right? Okay, 16. So he about to.
Okay, so he at the top.
He's at the top of the food chain. So let's say he get his 14, 15, 2024 come around, and all of a sudden, the Browns let him go. Now, if all running backs are the same, let's play this little thought experiment. If they're the same and it don't really matter, then this shouldn't hurt your feelings. If you let him go to the Baltimore Ravens.
Why there of all places?
All running backs the same. He go wherever, it don't matter.
He go to Baltimore.
If he go to Baltimore, we gonna be sick.
He think Baltimore gave us Jamal Lewis.
Hold on. And they gonna be out here with Lamar Jackson in the read option with Nick Chubb.
That's crazy.
That is devastating.
That's
okay,
crazy.
if everything's equal,
That's crazy.
let him go to Kansas City.
This is what. So the thing is this: if they were to move off of Nick Chubb,
and Kansas City gets him, you're never winning.
No.
You're done.
If they move off of Nick Chubb, you need to chill out.
Buffalo Bills, you're done.
Know for a fact, and they drafted a running back either the first or second round. So with the way running backs are looked at, unless you like Bijan Robinson or the Gibbs kid that went to Detroit, you're still gonna get a good running back in the second round, late first round, second round. You might get the top guy. Now I'm not saying is it Nick Chubb?
No.
Or is it the offensive line? Is it the play call?
Oh, now you didn't ask.
I'm asking. It's a lot that, but see, it's a lot that goes into success.
I can't believe
it's a lot that goes into success.
Jason
what?
over here
Jason,
smirking. Stop it, Jason. I know you
Jason,
enjoyed it.
what? Am I wrong, Jason?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Is it Nick Chubb? Now, don't get me wrong. Nick Chubb is great, and I'm not saying it ain't Nick Chubb. I'm just throwing an opinion out there before y'all go left in the chat. I ain't in the chat, but I can just see it right now. I can just see what y'all talking about in the chat. Before we go left, I'm saying, is it Nick Chubb? Is it the offensive line? Because in the same breath, Dearness Johnson came in the game and looked like one of the best running backs in the league.
Nick Chubb was doing that with bums. He was doing that. He's doing.
I'm just throwing an opinion out. I'm just throwing. I'm Switzerland on this whole thing. I don't care either way. I don't care. I'm just playing both sides of the fence. I'm giving you both sides of the scenario.
So like I said, if everything is equal and you could get a running back that was great, it shouldn't matter. Well, look, let him go to Buffalo. So you can have Josh Allen and
They won't
Nick Chubb.
use him in Buffalo right.
Are you serious?
They wouldn't use him right.
Hey, by the way,
if he want to be really successful, he need to go to Philly or he need to go to where the OC from Philly, the Colts, where he ain't going to go there because they got Jonathan Taylor.
You see that wishful thinking? See, he wishing he's somewhere in the NFC. The Browns' luck will be he goes to Pittsburgh.
That's exactly what he's
and
like.
then
That's exactly.
runs all. Can you imagine having to go to the Browns Stadium and watch Nick Chubb get 225
If
on
all
you?
running backs are the same.
If all of them are the same, we should. Hey, it don't
But
matter.
Jason is all for it. He doesn't care. You know why? Because he says that Deshaun Watson, if that offense is rolling and Deshaun Watson, they slinging the ball anyway, so Nick Chubb would have to get 21 points by himself.
I think I think Chubb's probably going to wind up around 1,400 yards this year.
How many touchdowns?
Who cares?
What do you mean? Who
But no,
cares?
but that's
a
not
big
a
part.
but that's not a fair marker because we just said you get it down to the one and give it to Chubb to punch it in.
We like that.
It
All
counts.
right, if you give it to Ford on the one, is he gonna punch it in?
We don't know that.
I don't think they want to give it. I don't think they want to give it to 4 on the one.
My point exactly.
Right.
That's my point.
Chubb will probably finish around where he always does. He's always in that same range.
12, 13, 11, something like that.
Yeah.
Double digits
12,
though.
yeah, double digits.
And
yeah.
for that-
1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns.
But what you're saying is, if it's for that production, you're willing to do 12.
Because of who he is, if he's willing to take a cut, yeah. I'd bring him
What
back.
if
If
he-
you can make everything else fit, yeah.
What if he only goes? He said 14.
Well, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. The quarterback, and I know they already restructured him once.
The number
The-
one running back in the league
num-
gotta take a cut.
The number one spot is the quarterback money, and it is so high, it complicates everything else that you have to do.
Well, Lamar Cooper and DPJ ain't getting paid. So.
Hey, listen, Jimmy Haslam.
Amari's like $14 million, I think, dead cap on the.
I thought
on the
he was
cap
20.
next year. Is he? Is it that high?
Ain't this his last year under contract?
I thought he had one more.
I thought this was it.
I'll tell
Maybe
you,
he's got one more.